Hi, my name is John-Allan Namu. I'm a Kenyan investigative journalist and a co-founder of Africa Uncensored. Africa Uncensored is an investigative and in-depth collective based in Nairobi. My main tips on how to become sustainable as an investigative journalism organization would be first to invest in your audience, to look at what they're reading, why it is they're reading, and what's important to them. Many times the communication that we have as investigative journalists to our audiences is just one to many, where we think that we have really important things to say, but really don't contextualize why they'd be important to our publics. That's the one lesson that I've learned over the 3 years that we've been, since we founded Africa Uncensored. That the moment that I started to listen more keenly to why my audience members think that something is important, that really gave me more grounding, more context, and even made my journalism better and more sustainable. Sustainability in terms of content, I think, is key, even before you start to think about the numbers. The second tip that I'd have is to actually think about those numbers. Investigative journalists often don't have the skill set, the business skill set, to start to look at their organizations, especially the organizations that they found as businesses or as organizations that they'd want to sustain over a long, long period of time. We're usually focused on the journalism, and rightly so. But once you join that field, once you become a social entrepreneur, which is what many investigative journalists who found these organizations actually become, then you really have to think about what kind of numbers drive your organization, how you're going to be able to keep it afloat. I think the third and final thing that I'd say about trying to become sustainable or as a tip on becoming sustainable is to really think about your content as a means through which you can repurpose it and what you can do with your content. Most investigative journalists and most journalists think of content as one story or as a series of stories or as a set of facts that they would put together and synthesize for the public. And that's just one way that you can think about your content. You can think about it in different ways. You can think about the research behind the content that you're producing as a means to a sale of people who'd be interested in research. You can think of your content as a means through which you can collaborate with organizations that have similar goals to yourself that would need this content for their own uses, but would be willing to either purchase it or fund certain aspects of your journalism. You could also think about your content purely as in its raw form, as content that you can sell before even the synthesis or after it. Those would be my 3 tips on how to remain sustainable as an investigative journalism organization.